Good morning, everyone. It's Angie Harness with Keller Williams. Today, I'm here with my good friend Tina Asher. Tina is a career reinvention coach, and I totally think I just said that all wrong.
Strategist. It's all good.
Well, she's a career development coach, okay, and she helps people and a reinvention strategist. She's amazing. That's what you really need to know. We're sitting here in downtown Wentzville. We're actually right in between LB's General Store and Not Jaded Boutique and Tea Room. So just real quick, if you guys haven't been to either of these spots, you need to come check them out. They're wonderful. Yeah, go to LB's and get you some cowboy candy. Wait, I need to quit telling people about that because they're running out of it.
I know, I just got mine.
I know. Or come over to Not Jaded. She's actually closed on Mondays, but come over for lunch. She makes a delicious lunch. Have you had the tomato bisque soup? Oh my gosh, it's amazing. And you can buy it. She's selling it, Tara Cooney, owner of Not Jaded Boutique. She's selling it at formerly Menino's Market, but now Flint Hill Market over.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so it's in the freezer section, and there's a couple other spots that you can go buy her soups. They're delicious and homemade.
Wow.
All right, anyway, we digress. Had to promote our friends and promote our local businesses that we love. So Tina I asked Tina to just come on today and talk a little bit about resilience among a few other things. So Tina and Tina is also a world famous author. This is her book, Teetering. You could actually, I didn't steal it. I borrowed this from inside of LB's. There are a couple copies left there if you want to get yourself one. I'll be putting it back. Don't worry, people, I'm not stealing the book. But this is what her book looks like. So Tina, tell us, first of all, a little bit about your book.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure when this book was going to come about. Unfortunately, it came out right in the middle of a pandemic, which actually worked out great. The book is called Teetering. It's a frazzled, overworked person's guide to embrace change and find balance in their life. And it's really just a collection of stories of clients that have found some successes and some failures along the way, some very vulnerable and authentic personal stories from my past that I'm not extremely proud of, but I felt that I needed to share my story to help others not hide things that help them grow. And from those experiences, I've been able to help others along their way and impact their lives for better. So really excited to have that out there for people to experience.
Yeah, I tell you, I've read your book, and it is, to me, it's very impressive, and it shows, in my opinion, great character and great humility. The fact that you did share some things that are not easy to share, and there's not a single one of us who can raise their hand and say, like, I've never done anything that I'm not proud of. Like, nobody can say that, but the fact that you just put it out there in such a public way with that heart of wanting to take what you learned in your experience to help people. And one of the things we kind of talked about was resilience. So just talk a little bit about resilience and what that means to you, and how you help coach people along those lines as well.
Yeah, so I'm friends with a lot of coaches out there, and I adore them. The reason I stepped into coaching is I went through a long period of time where I was in a corporate industry that I was the youngest female climbing a ladder and trying to find successes that way, and a male-dominated world. As a child, I grew up and we changed houses and states and lived all over the place, so I had to consistently try and reinvent myself with every change. So it's been a journey, and I think what my passion is now is helping people with their journey, to let them know that no matter what change or difficulty you go through, there's something to be learned and gained from that. I was at an LDB event the other day, and one of the other coaches in there made the term, she used the term, it's practice, it's just practice. And I love that, because we're practicing until we excel at something. My terminology that I use with my clients a lot of times is it's research. If something doesn't go right, it's research. We learn and we grow, and then we excel from there.
I love that. It's one of the things I tell my clients when we're looking at houses, and they're like, oh, Angie, we feel like we're wasting your time. I'm like, nope. It's all education until we find you the right one. And I like that word, practicing, because, and the truth is, even when we get to the point where we feel like there's excellent, or we're excellent at something, there's still another gear. You know, there's still another gear. There's always going to be another gear. There's always going to be something to learn and improve and grow from.
I love that, and that's one of the things I love about you, especially with the LBB Book Club and some of the self-development things that you do with that is, you know, I get very challenged sometimes when people feel like they are the know-it-all or the be-all. And no, I want to absorb and soak in everything that I can, no matter if you're a stranger that I've never met before. There's something I'm going to grow and learn from that person and be impacted by.
Absolutely. Well, I will tell you, the older I get, the more I realize I don't know. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so dumb. Like, I'm not really dumb.
You're not dumb.
I'm not actually dumb, but yeah, I think there's a level of humility I think that we gain, hopefully as we age, because we do start to recognize, like, yeah, we don't really know, but we don't know that much.
That's true.
We really don't know that much.
It's true.
So, Tina, talk. Kind of one of the things we've talked about too is you know, a lot of times we can get caught up in our identities. It's a little big truck coming by.
Yeah, can you hear all the noise? This is real life, people. Yeah, I think we don't recognize how many roles we've played during our lives. You know, maybe you've been a mom. You're always maybe a mom unless something tragic happened. Maybe if you've been divorced, you're an ex-wife. That's a role you played. You're an ex-wife, an ex-daughter-in-law, any of those items. Maybe you were a parent and you were teaching kids, so you're a negotiator, you're a leader, you're all of these things. Those experiences help us to grow and form who we are today. And so a lot of times I see people, they're struggling with not having their voice heard, or not feeling valued in a relationship or at work or whatever that might be. And the truth of the matter is they've lost their identity of who they are, and they want to feel needed. We all want to feel needed and appreciated in life, and that's it. So if you're a boss or a manager or a spouse, what are the ways that you can get past the nitpicky stuff of things that people aren't doing right and really embrace what they've done right and the little things, so that they want to do more? You know, it's like training a dog to eat a treat. If they do a little something good, give them a reward, give them something so they want to do more of that, so it impacts them.
Absolutely. I think you just struck on I think it's a natural human need, is to be needed and to be helpful to other people. You know, I think we all have that need and desire. And, you know, sometimes if you've been in a role like being a stay-at-home mom, and this came up last week, you know, that's what you've done your whole life, and you've taken care of those children, and then they go off to college and they go do something else, and they're like, now who needs me?
Right.
You know, I think that's when those transitions can be very challenging for people. However, there's always somebody out there who can help.
And I think that's in everyday life, right? When we change a school, when we change to a different state or a different house, you know, there's new neighbors, there's new bosses that we want to impress or get to know. For kids, it's friendships. I hope you guys can hear. This is kind of loud.
It is.
So, but you know,
the city of Wentzville sitting here.
Yeah. Wow.
Big. I have no idea what that is.
Wow.
It's a big truck. But big equipment on the back of it.
Constantly have to reinvent ourselves, right? So we have to really establish how we can be better in this next phase. So.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You know, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't know I would be selling real estate when I grew up. I thought I wanted to be a brain surgeon. You know why though?
Why? I want to hear this. Why?
I knew if I was a brain surgeon, I could afford a Ferrari.
Goals, girl. Goals. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I realized I didn't want to go to school for that long, so we didn't do that. One of the things we were talking earlier, Tina, that you talked about was how procrastination can be good and bad.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so by nature, I tend to be one that likes to go with my instinct. I've moved around a lot, as I mentioned, and so I know pretty well how to, I don't want to say size people up, because that's not the terminology I'm looking for, but it's you're forced into a setting where you have to learn to make new friends consistently. And so for me, instinctiveness is very instilled with me. I'm certified with a lot of assessments, and I know science-based backs it up too, that I like to go off my past experiences when I make choices. I'm not afraid to start something that I don't know everything about ahead of time, and I know that I can Google and research it and study as much as I want to and pour my heart and soul into it. Now with procrastination, I've been known to procrastinate. For someone with that type of style, that procrastination can be a benefit if it helps you not jump into something that you're not prepared for or ready for. It can be a hindrance if it's a perfectionism thing, right? Like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do it because I don't know all the answers yet. I don't want to seem like a fraud. I don't want to do all these things. So procrastination can work its evil ways both ways. It can be a blessing or a curse depending on how you look at it. So.
Yeah, I think to encapsulate it, it's like trusting your instincts is hugely important. You know, if your instincts tell you that this is not a good situation, then you probably should go with that. You know, there's going to be no harm in not doing something because you think it's a bad idea, and then finding out later after you get more information you can change your mind. However, once something goes bad, it's gone bad, and there's no going back and fixing it. So it's kind of like, you know, you can cook the steak. You can always cook the steak a little more, but you can't.
That's right.
You can't take it back down once it's well done.
That's right. Well, and I shared a story at a presentation I made about perfectionism. And when I was a little girl, I always have loved to color. You know, there's adult color books now.
Yes, I know.
I love
My
them.
daughter loves them.
I love them. And anyway, I always loved to color. And my grandfather worked on this big farm, and he was really tired. He came in and he saw me laying on my belly, coloring my heart out on the living room floor. And after an exhausting day, he came in and he laid down and he started coloring with me. And during that time, I just adored my grandfather, you know, and he looked over at my coloring and he said, "Tina, you need to stay within the lines." And he didn't say that in a mean way. I loved and adored him, but I never realized until recently how much those words affected my life. About, okay, I'm the oldest. I need to stay within the lines. I need to have things kind of perfect and keep everything together and have that space and place so everyone thinks I'm perfect, which no one is. That's a defeating venue, right? So then I stayed within the lines for a good majority of my life until I was tired of it, and I went outside the lines, and to the detriment of a failed marriage and some other things that I'm not proud of. There were some things that shaped me in a different way. Now, staying in the lines for some places are okay, but it's okay to color outside the lines.
Yeah, that's so interesting when you say that. You know, there's a lot of times when people, you talked about, you know, those words, stay within the lines, how that shaped your life, it shaped the course of your life until you realize, wait a minute, hold on, that's not actually 100% correct. And I think so many people don't realize that, you know, you might be behaving in a way that is not in alignment with who you really are and what you really want in life and what's right for you, because everybody's different, because of maybe a few words, and they could have been said with love. It doesn't mean that it was bad. You know, a lot of times people don't realize that, yeah, you might have had a wonderful upbringing with great parents who loved you and nurtured you, and at the same time, you might be doing some things in your life or struggling to, you know, or struggling with something. You know, maybe there's something that you want to do and you're afraid, or there's all these things. It's quite possible you could backtrack it back to something seemingly very innocuous that held you back.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
I think that's why I get so excited when I see others, especially through what I do, is, you know, helping people succeed and find that inner joy and really excel in doing things that are outside of the boundaries, outside of where they think they can ever go, to find that peace and that joy.
Can we talk about our friend that we were talking about earlier? We don't have to say her name.
Okay.
So we have a mutual friend, and this woman, we won't say her name because it's bad or anything. Just we didn't have permission, so I'm not going to put her name out there unless she wanted me to. But for years, you know, she has talked about wanting to make a career change. She was in the restaurant industry, managing a restaurant, and it was like everybody who loved her could see it was like just sucking her soul, and she knew it. And there was a lot of different things kind of getting in the way of her making that shift. So just talk a little bit about your journey with her.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of that inner conflict of, I know I want more, but I don't know where to begin. And I don't even know if I can do it. And it's scary to take that step off the ledge. Kind of like the picture on the book, you know, you're on a high wire. That next step could be fatal, or it could be amazing, you know. So she is an amazing woman. And the things that we saw collectively, a lot of people made notice of things that she started doing and approaching her boss to realign some direction in her role day to day, and then starting her own company that she's had an inner passion for so long, and then attracting another job in alignment with that as she's building that business. I mean, it's just, her whole demeanor is different now. It's really exciting.
Yeah, she's lighter. She looks younger.
She's,
I mean, she looks, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And guys, there's a lot of steps that had to take place in order for her to be able to take that leap, you know, because, you know, she's married, you know, they were looking at, you know, she had this job that gave her financial security. So it was a really big deal to say, okay, we're going to let that go, and I'm going to go take this leap. You know, there's a lot that goes into something like that, and it's been totally worth it.
It is, and I think that's the important piece to recognize is when you're looking or searching to make a change, make sure you have friends, mentors, coaches, whoever you decide to hire, whatever, that have been through that. You know, reinventing yourself is hard, but it's a necessity. And you know, knowing if you've been the breadwinner, or knowing that you know how to successfully bring in a living and you don't know how to change gears outside of your profession, there's some steps to take that can make it easier.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to, we're not saying, another big truck. It's Porky Jurley Trucking Corporation.
We're promoting New Melly now.
New Melly, yeah. I actually drove by there. I went to, yesterday total sidebar, I went on a hike yesterday, and I drove by his place, and I got a kick out of like Porky Jurley. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but sorry guys, squirrel. Anyway, yeah, we're not saying just go quit your job and then go start a new business or anything like that. We're not saying that. That's probably not wise. However, to Tina's point, there are lots of really great professionals out there, or probably people, maybe some people you know, who can help you set those things in place, so that, you know, you want to, is it a risk to take a different leap in life? When you know that's what's right for you, yeah, it can be, but there's also things that you can do to mitigate that risk so that you're making, you know, good decisions as you're doing it. Because how long was this process with our friend? It was quite a while before she went from being in that corporate, managing that chain restaurant.
It's a good year and a half.
Yeah. So it wasn't just like an overnight thing. And in that time, she was able to put things in place that has set her up for success in her new business that she now
new
owns.
happiness. Yep.
And it's bringing her joy and fulfillment in her life.
And I think part of any type of shift that you make, and to have resiliency, you need to be aware of what you're saying yes to, right? And how to say no in an appropriate way that is good for both, right? So sometimes I've been habitually guilty of constantly wanting to fill my calendar with every little nook and cranny, and that doesn't serve me well, and it doesn't serve the people that I'm going to the event with if I'm not all present. So I've had to really pull myself back in a lot of times. And a little tip that I can give you, if you're deciding to, if someone asks you to be part of something or to do something, one, you never have to give an immediate answer. Give your brain and your space and time to think about it. But secondly, if they tell you it's not going to be for several months out, if you weren't willing to say yes if it started tomorrow, then you probably shouldn't take it on. Because we have this habit of always saying, oh, I'll be through the holidays, things will lighten up, it'll be school season now, I'll be able to do it then. The truth of the matter is something else is going to be filling up your calendar before then. And then you're going to be regretting it or dreading it. And that's not a good space to be in. And then we get ourselves in overwhelm.
Absolutely. Well, and I think when I think of myself, because I'm notorious for having a lot of things, and there's a couple reasons sometimes we do that. Sometimes because we're avoiding something else. maybe there's something personal we need to deal with, and being busy is a great way to avoid stuff. The other thing is too, is we get, just depending on, me personally, I grew up with like codependent background, all the things. Part of it is our egos, when people ask us to do things, we have to, our egos, I think, can also sometimes, because it can feed your ego when you're being asked to participate in something or go do this thing or go to this event or whatever. And I will tell you, when you start saying no to some of these things because you really, really don't want to do it, it's awesome.
Yes, it is.
It's
awesome. We get stuck in that FOMO, right?
Gosh.
That fear of missing out.
Ah.
But then it can also reverse, like you said, and then if you're not invited, then you start questioning, and all of that little junk that goes on in your brain is like, oh wait, what did I do wrong? Why aren't I invited? And then you look at it as a blessing. Hey, this is really great. I'm okay with that. So.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, there's a lot of,
There's so much to that. But
there's so many things we can, I mean, we're both in this organization called Little Black Women, Little Black Book Women in Business, and there's a lot of events. You could fill up your calendar to go into all these different events, and it's not healthy to do all of them.
And they're all great events, though.
They are all great events, absolutely. Yes. However, you can't be at everything all the time. So
pick and choose.
You have to pick and choose what's good and right for you.
Yep.
So to kind of wrap up a little bit, Tina, what advice, if somebody's going through a change in their life, they're going through something difficult. I mean, the whole world just went through being under lockdown on COVID, which affected different people differently. Obviously, what would you tell them to do?
Any type of change is difficult, so you really have to make sure that it's in alignment with your core values. That's first and foremost. If you understand whether it's going to light you up and really be connected to who you truly are, then you might want to consider that. But there's I have basically 5 different steps to go through with any type of change, and that is, you do want to make sure it's aligned with your core values. You do want to know, what will I learn from this experience? What am I going to gain? What will be the impact for that? What will be the impact if I don't make this change? And who all will it affect? And then what are the consequences around that, right? What are the consequences if I do make the change or not? Because when we make change in our life, it doesn't affect just you. Every choice we make is a choice, and it affects more than just you. It affects the person you're making that choice for. It affects the people around you on how you're going to respond or react when they're around or they're not around. There's such a ripple effect with that. So it's really important to weigh those out. And that's why I think it's so scary for a lot of people to make a change.
Absolutely. And to your point, Tina, I mean, I think you're kind of a perfect example. You had a choice to make when you decided to leave the corporate world. Yep. And then you were in coaching for 6 years on a volunteer basis with the Keller Institute. Is that correct? Keller Institute? Mm-hmm. And then Keller and Associates, and then you and then for 4 years you've been actually coaching as a career. So the flip side of that is because you were willing to take that leap and step into what your own brilliance is, and use all the things you learned. Look at all the people you've been able to help, because you're willing to do that. So that's the other flip side. It might be scary. However, look at the people, we just talked about a friend of ours who, it's one of my favorite stories because I just see the difference in her. And there you have countless numbers of clients who have been able to successfully make a career change, make a change in their lives that has for sure benefited them as individuals, but everybody that's around you benefits as well.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the beautiful ripple effect. When you're you have a rewarding position and you're successful in what you do, the whole world benefits, right? Because they see your passion and they see how happy you are. And so you're a better mom, you're a better wife, you're a better husband, you're a better employee.
Yep. Absolutely. One of my favorite, Keller Williams, we have bold laws. One of my favorite ones is be, do, achieve. And so, if you wanted to kind of go deep into that, you can't achieve whatever it is you want to achieve without changing who you are today. Because you can't, whatever it is you want to do, if there's something, you have some goal, you have to start being that person that's going to hit that goal today. At the same time, when you do that, you and really step into your own unique brilliance, you not only do you achieve more for yourself, but you're also able to do so much more for other people because you're better for as part of that.
Well, I like to break through the muck a lot of times because people think, because that's what you just described is true success.
Mm-hmm.
When you're successful in that and knowing you are your best version of yourself, that is success. It's not that title that we're reaching for. It's not that salary rank that we're reaching for. Those things are great because they help us to achieve other things that are great. But it's not the fine definition of success. Mm-hmm. Success comes from within.
Yeah, absolutely.
That inner peace, right?
And you don't have to drive a Ferrari to be successful. Even though
But you would like
Ferraris
one.
are...
What color?
Actually, no, you know what? A Ferrari would be okay, but actually, you know what I really would love? Pagani Huayra. Yeah.
I don't think
it's
I know that.
Oh my God. It's a hand-built Italian car. It costs like $1 million, okay? I don't have $1 million to spend on the car. Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to have like lots of millions.
It's Angie Harness, we know.
I'd have to have lots of millions to justify that. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Look it up and you'll see why this car is amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pagani Huayra. I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's okay.
Awesome. And what color would that be?
Well, my brand colors, black and gold.
Oh, there you go.
Of course.
You're wearing. That's good.
Oh yeah, too funny. All right, everybody, we wish you all a blessed day, and this has been Tina Asher. Tina, tell people, so if you want to have a consultation with Tina, how do they get a hold of you, Tina?
Yep. So my phone number is 636-439-8824. The company is Build You Up Consulting, and we can type that in the notes.
Yeah, we'll type it in.
And I would love to hear from you if I can help. I'll lend an ear.
Absolutely. She's amazing. You should call her.
So is she. She's amazing too.
Well, oh, thank you.
It's a love fest.
It is. It's a total love fest. And here in Winsville, which we love.
Yep.
Winsville's amazing.
With our LB's coffee.
With our LB's coffee. Yeah, LB's General Store. Come get you some garlic.
And then hop over
No,
to that
is it garlic
Jaded.
No. Yeah, no, it's
Garlic
special garlic. No, it's not. It's special. She has her own special, like, different garlics and amazing things. And yeah, go to Not Jaded. Across the street is the Smokehouse, which is really, they have great barbecue. Around the corner is Friendship Brewing Company. Down the road is and on the other side is Duke's Barbecue. Yeah, we got
Carl Steiner or something.
Yeah, West Allen Grill
West
is
Allen Grill,
across the street, and then on the other side is the new Thai kitchen. I took dinner home from there the night. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Yep. If you love a good curry, good stuff. Really good stuff. My husband had pad thai. It was very good. So yeah, come visit downtown Winsville. Oh, and if you're thinking of selling, buying, or investing in real estate, I'm Angie Harness with Keller Williams. Would love to have a conversation with you. And yeah, we've
Awesome.
We've
She's great.
blabbed enough.
Yep.
Y'all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye.
Bye, guys.